Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap Student to Engineer, where STEM professionals provide advice to students. This video is going to be going over the data from Case Western Reserve University. The data is great. The university provides a lot of information, which I just love because I'm finding more and more schools that are not posting a lot. So thank you to Case for doing that. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel so you can get other videos like it. Let me know if there are more universities you need to have covered so you can make your last minute decisions here before May 1st. And let's get right into it. The university makes available a lot of information on their outcomes page. You'll also see about halfway down a lot of other data that we're not really going to go through today in this video, but if you are interested in some of these other pieces, I will also provide this link in the description for this video, so make sure to check out that. So Case Western starts with basically a splash page where they're giving you just high-level pieces of information. 99% of students participate in experiential learning. This is it is entrepreneurship, it is co-ops, it is interns. With Case Western, the co-op program is 2 semesters in a row of work. So basically think about it as a longer internship, but something that we can get into later. And I will be creating a video about internships versus co-op, so check that out when it does come out. 97% of undergrads are employed in grad school or pursuing other goals within 6 months of graduation. Again, this is one of those schools that has really great outcomes. This is on par with some of the other well-known schools like Purdue, Mines, some of those other ones. If you are interested in those other schools, there's a lot of other videos on this channel to check out, so check those out. Median starting salary range 65 to 70. That is somewhat low for what we've been seeing at other schools. So we'll have to dig into that as we look through things. All right, so again, in their splash information, they're telling you some of the top employers and then top grad schools. So Amazon is something that we see at just about any school. Google also at a number of schools. Boeing and Lockheed Martin are in that aerospace category that really focus on some schools and don't focus on others. So if you're interested in going into aerospace, even if you're not majoring in aerospace, there are schools that are better to go to because companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin will go recruit at those schools. All right, so as we just keep scrolling down, 41% of students who took part in experiential learning received a job offer as a result. That is excellent. What you want as a student is you want to get that work experience while you're in school through an intern or co-op, and you want that to result in a job offer. The great thing about an intern or a co-op resulting in a job offer is when you go in, they know you don't have experience. They know you don't know anything. They're going to help you along. And if you can get a job there after you graduate, you can come in a little bit ahead because you know the culture, you know the work, you know the company going in. Even if you don't accept that job offer in the end and you go somewhere else, it's really great to go into your senior year with that offer under your belt and knowing that you have an option and you don't need to just take whatever comes along. So good numbers so far. We are going to be checking out this outcomes tool in a minute, but I want to get through a little bit more of the data that Case Western shows on their summary information. Okay, so 86% of students take part in research or creative endeavors. There is a program at Case Western specifically on entrepreneurship, which is not super common when you are looking at engineering schools. So a great opportunity if that's something that you're looking at doing in the future. Up 69% with at least one internship. Again, there are other opportunities to get that experiential learning, which is why the experiential learning number is higher. 64% volunteering, that is awesome, and 35% study abroad is decent for a school like this. And then, they talk about what you can earn when you're a co-op. $20,000 earning for 2 semesters worth of work seems a little low. This may be a little bit old data, but if you look at typically what we're seeing is engineering interns and co-ops are making about $22 an hour. So if you multiply that by 40 and then multiply that by the number of hours number of weeks you're going to be working either as an internship during the summer or a co-op longer than that, or maybe during the school year, you can get a pretty good idea of how much you're going to earn. And these numbers can really go a long way in offsetting the cost of tuition and room and board and all those other things that go into cost of attendance. So definitely something to consider when you're looking at schools. So what we're going to do is go to the outcomes tool, which I have open over here with some pre-filtering on it. And again, the data looks really good. What I've done is I've just looked at engineering for 2023. And what I'm seeing is about a third of the grads go to grad school. That's a pretty decent number, pretty typical, maybe a little bit higher than some of the other schools, but definitely lower than some like Cornell. I'll provide the link to that video. But what you want to look at is the percent of students that don't have a successful outcome, meaning that within 6 months of graduation, they are not either employed or in grad school or doing other things. Other plans, typically is military, volunteer, those types of activities. But typically they are activities that a student wants to do, and so they're considered to be positive outcomes. For Case Western to have just 5 grads in 2023 from the School of Engineering that are still looking for work after 6 months, that's really, really good numbers. On par with some of the other schools we've seen, like Purdue, that have about that same percent. So good, solid results for graduates as far as getting a job. So let's look at employers and industries. I love when schools provide industries. The way they have it broken down here is a little bit, maybe not as helpful. Graduates from the School of Engineering go to engineering. That's not really super surprising. What I would like to see, or would have expected to see, is divisions like aerospace and those types of things that the company names over here indicate that we're going towards. So if you just look at some of these companies, what I typically look for in employers is I want to see a large number of companies that are hiring multiple grads from a school. What I'm seeing here is really only 4 companies that are hiring more than 5 grads, which is not great. But if I do some aggregate where I'm just going to go looking at the last 5 years, I can probably get a better picture of what companies are recruiting from Case Western and come back every year to get students. So Epic, Microsoft and Amazon we see all over the place. Rockwell Automation we don't see a lot of places. Deloitte is more on the business side, so they're always looking for technical grads, engineering grads. If you graduate and you find that you maybe don't really want to go be a design engineer, then something like Deloitte is a good option for you. P&G, General Electric. So there are a number of companies, it looks like, that stick around, that stay with Case Western, that recruit from there and find that their grads are the kind of people they want. So this is all good information. So we're going to go to employment states. This is data that I really like to use to understand if a school is regional or not. Case Western Reserve University is in Ohio. And the number of grads that stay in Ohio is the highest. So not super surprising. But where do other grads go? So it looks like we've got quite a number in Illinois, Wisconsin, California, Washington. While there are 5 grads that have in Texas and Colorado, we typically see more going to Texas for for national schools, but still a decent number. And then we've got Pennsylvania and New York, right next to Ohio, so not surprising in Massachusetts. So I'd say looking at this data, Case Western is definitely recognized all around the US and would open doors for you to go wherever you want, with probably more of a focus in the Midwest. These numbers for the Midwest are higher than we would see in some other schools that are not in the Midwest. So if you want to go live in the Midwest, or at least start your career in the Midwest, and all the way over to New York, then this is a great opportunity for you. Okay, so a lot of schools don't provide employment cities. I think this is pretty nice because you can see if there are grads that go to California, where are they? So there are some in the San Francisco Bay Area, a few down in the LA area, and California, San Diego, Riverside, those kind of things. You can see where they're split up. For these other states where there's very few grads, they're just like in the main cities. Los Alamos in New Mexico is where Los Alamos National Laboratories are. And so regardless of where this grad went, they're going to be working for the lab. So something that's interesting to note, that they did have somebody go to the National Lab in Los Alamos. They did not have grads going to Oak Ridge National Lab or Lawrence Livermore National Lab, some of the other national labs in the network. There are other schools that have grads going to all the national labs. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe going to another school that focuses on that would be maybe a better option, maybe not. And then, a lot of the grads just all over the place are staying in the large metropolitan areas, which is not surprising. Okay, so salaries. So the numbers that we saw were a little bit lower than we would expect. So maybe those information here that would explain it a little bit. One thing that is interesting when we look at salary data when it's aggregated at a school is that some universities have computer science in their engineering school. And right now, those salaries are much higher than a lot of disciplines of engineering. And so that kind of skews things north, depending on where you are. It looks like the Case Western numbers are more across engineering and not necessarily focused on the computer side of things. So, it's nice that they have these survey data pieces about Case Western preparing grads for jobs. And it actually is very, very nice that they're providing this. What is your job? Did it require a degree? Was it related to your field of study? Because a lot of times we look at those outcomes and, you can think, well, you graduate, maybe you didn't have a job, and then after 3 months you get desperate and you go find something. Those numbers and those types of jobs are kind of hidden in the data when it just says employment. But in this case, what Case Western Reserve University engineering grads are saying is that for the most part, their degrees are helping them get that job. The jobs require the degree. And for the most part, they're related to the field of study. 11% are not related to the field of study. And again, these are like things like those Deloitte people. But there are people who go all the way through engineering school and say, you know what, I don't want to do this. I got the engineering degree to set me up for success, but I don't want to sit in an office and design. Maybe I want to do something completely different. So a lot of engineers do other things besides sit in an office and design, but there are people who just want to go into something totally different. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. And I do agree that getting an engineering degree sets you up for pretty much any future that you want, whether or not you end up going into engineering. Okay, I'm going to skip the 2 pieces of data about advanced study and go over to experiential learning. So this is really important. I get a lot of questions about internships and co-ops and what schools have better programs. When you have a school that focuses on this kind of experience and provides this data about what their students are getting, you know that it's important to them. And you know that if you go there, you're going to get one of these things. So at least one activity, 97.6%. I mean, that's, pretty much guaranteed that while you're in school, you're going to either do research, an internship, community service, study abroad, co-op, or a career center practicum. And if you look at how many of those different experiential learning activities students have, we've got 17% with 5 or more. That means they're doing something during the summer and they're doing something during the school year. So that's amazing. And that's the kind of thing that makes graduates very attractive to employers. They know that if they get an engineering grad from CASE, they're going to be getting somebody with some sort of experience. Of course, that's going to be on your resume, and they're going to see that and say, wow, that's, maybe you did study abroad and you did research during school and you did, a couple internships while you're in school. Those are really good things to have on your resume, can help with that percent success rate on student outcomes, and can often, land you the job when maybe the economy is not doing so well, or, other things. That's the data that's available for Case Western Reserve University in Ohio. Please like and subscribe, leave your comments, let me know what questions you have, and we will see you on the next one.